The mobility program can be done every day if you choose, but before you work out, whether you're going to the gym or going for a run or a cycle ride, whatever it might be, this way of warming up and prepping your body is crucial. How often do you go for a run and just start running? How often do you play sports and just start playing sport? This sort of program done before you do those things makes sure you're prepped and you're ready and you're stretched and you're going to have a much better performance. But not just for sport or exercise, this sort of routine done regularly makes sure that your body, as it gets more stiff, let's face it, we all do, in our hips and our backs and our pelvis, is more mobile, more agile, and you'll feel more well. Now Karen's here to help me show you the exercises, and Karen's going to go for the first one here. This was a superhero exercise, it's the Spider-Man first of all. So this one's great for giving you great mobility through your hips and your pelvis and your lower back. It's called Spider-Man because you're sort of crawling up the wall. It's a bit strange, but hey, it works. Make sure with this one you keep yourself nice and still in the shoulders. It's just the hips and the legs that are moving. You're pulling the knees and the feet up nice and high to the sides and stretching the hip flexors, a bit of the inner thigh, a bit of hamstrings as well. So all these key areas around the whole of your lower back. Get a real start of the mobility program. Great, 10, 12 reps of that. One more and rest there, fine. Next thing here is a hip flexor reach, a hip flexor stretch with a reach above the head. So get your hip flexor stretch there, 1 foot straight forwards, and from there, the body just presses forwards and your hands reach straight up. You should feel a stretch in the hip flex on the outside, front of this thigh here. Reach with those arms and change sides, repeat the other side, and we'll do 3 or 4 goes of each side with that. Let's change again, good, and press and reach up there, hands nice and high, change again, and really feel that stretching at the front of the hip, that hip flexor muscle. Good, 1 more for each side, really give it some time, stretch forwards there, reach with the arms. 1 more time. Good, and press and reach. Okay, well done. Have a lie down on your back, doing a body lift next, often known as a bridge. This is going to start to work and mobilize around the hips and work the glutes, the buttock muscles and the lower back as well. What you're doing is raising up and down slowly, contracting the buttock muscles, making the pelvis move nice and high. The lower back gets a slight mobility as well. Be really making the knees and hips and pelvis here start to really get agile and start to get slightly stretched. You do about 10, 12 reps of this. Very simple, easy thing to do, but really does work very effectively. So there are 4 or 5 of those for now. Keep on going with that and breathing well all the way too. This is not a workout, this is really more of a warm-up, but it's going to be still slightly tough. A couple more, still 1 more. Fantastic. So staying down on the floor for this next one, doing trunk rotations. So from this one, what we're doing is lifting a knee up, rolling across, but the shoulders stay flat to the floor the whole time, and then repeat the same thing the other direction. It's a very fluid, very smooth movement, about 10 reps of this. As the leg drops across, feel the stretch across the outside of the thigh into the glute, the buttock area as well, really rotating that lower back area to mobilize the whole of the spine. That's good, some nice big movements, but again, always keeping the shoulders flat to ensure that it's just really all the movement through this one area through here. That's good, big movements, so 4 of those for now. It's always a fluid movement the whole time, it's never jerky, never stopping. It's a very brief kind of stretch over and then return back up before you change sides. So 2 more of those, really good long mobility area, fantastic. And then 1 more time, really looking to stretch out into the hips. That's good, okay, and relax there. This next one is wall angels. Nice name to it, but actually it's quite surprisingly difficult. We all get very stiff in the shoulders and the upper back area. This one is just leaning against a wall. Make sure your bottom and your lower back are pressed against the wall and your shoulders are as well. And from there, we're going to reach up with the arms above you and ideally keeping the elbows back close to the wall at the same time as well. Now that's the real trick, because trying to do this you realise your elbows want to come away from the wall quite a long way. If you can press them back and make the upper back work, it's that much more effective. It'll give you great strength and flexibility where you want it to give you good posture in the upper back. Now try to do 10 or 12 reps of this. Always remember to pull in the stomach, press your back into the wall the whole time, reaching nice and high on the way up there, as high as you can, really go for it, work them nice and hard. Last couple, keep that going, do it regularly, let's do 1 more, and relax down there. Now done regularly, that one's going to really improve the whole of your upper back posture. That was good. Okay, so a reverse lunge with a reach next. A reverse lunge is just stepping backwards there through a long stride, pushing the knee down towards the floor, feeling a stretch in your hip flexor and the front of that thigh as well. As you reach up high with the arms, really stretch out underneath the arms and through the abdomen as you're trying to reach your way up there It's a nice long, very dynamic movement for stretching mobility. That's good, about 10 or 12 reps of this, so last couple of these now before we move on. And one more, fantastic, and relax there, well done, good. This next one is a leg swing, mobilizing through the back of the legs, the hamstrings and the hip itself as well. Grabbing onto a bench or a chair or a wall if you need to. It's one big swinging movement going front to back. Really getting the toes go nice and high ahead of you, but roughly to hip height as you raise the leg through, and then swing back behind you in that movement as well. So you feel a stretch in the hip flex at the front here. As you raise up, the hamstring feels it. It's about 10 or 12 repetitions, keeping the body pretty still and centralized the whole time, and then we change sides. Now, if you're a regular runner, this is a great thing to do because actually those muscles that you're going to really want to try and stride out with are being stretched in the same movement. So it's a really important thing to do before you go for those runs or even a cycle as well. Again, 10, 12 repetitions and relax there, that's fine. Now, same idea, going sideways on this time, going across the body rather than forwards and back. So you're stretching through the outside of the hip and the pelvis and the whole glute, the buttock area, as you go across the body. As it comes back up again, the inner thigh gets a real stretch too. And nice to make sure that the whole pelvic area really is mobilized before you do any exercise at all. Let's change legs there, 10, 12 reps for each side. Again, big free swinging pendulum action. Really let things really go free and loose on it. Body stays very centralized through the spine. A little bit of rotation in there is all okay, but not too much, not swinging wildly, but very controlled. Last 3 or 4 of those, and relax. Fine, that's good, well done. For really great mobility work, using a foam roller such as this, you can get these from my website, mattroberts.co.uk, are well worth having actually. It's something which you use to ensure you get even greater mobility work in the areas that really need it. Let's kind of step in here. We're going to do some work first of all for the ITBs, the outside of your thigh. Have a lie down first of all on your side there, and all we're doing is allowing you to go from the sort of top of the thigh hip area, roll up and down from really hip down to the top of the knee. And what the foam roller does is applies pressure into those muscles. It really aids mobility enormously by giving you almost like a massage in the area there. That kind of can testify it's slightly painful as you're doing it, but actually that pain is somewhat of a good thing, I'm afraid. It does really make the muscles get that much more mobile. It's well worthwhile. And if you're a runner or a cyclist, these muscles specifically get very stiff and very tight, and this bit of kit is absolutely invaluable. So I would say you must get one. Let's change sides around there, Karen. The other side, same thing. Try and do about 10, 12 repetitions for each side when doing this. So quite a few reps. Let the muscle really get some work into there, some massage into there, and really get some length increases in towards that stiffened up area. That's good, nice long movements there. Let the roll of the work for you. That's great. Perfect. Last 4 or 5 of those. Keep on going, good. That's it, big movements. Let's do one more. That's fine. Okay, now from there, we'll do the glutes next, the backside area. So we're going to do some work on that really kind of big muscle in the bottom, which gets, again, lots of pressure all the time. Again, if you're a runner, these bits get really stiffened up. You're really sitting just to one side very slightly, putting pressure to the main belly of the muscle in the backside. And again, rolling your way from very much the top of the pelvic bone down towards the bony bit inside your hip. And feel the whole of that muscle being manipulated and get it to be stretched and massaged at the same time. That's a great activity to make sure the pelvic area reduces some tension and stiffness. Let's swap sides, the other side, same thing. Make sure you've got a good support. So your foot is your good support area, hand on the floor behind you. So really you're allowing yourself to rock backwards and forwards on that foam roller. And again, it'll feel a little bit tender at first. These muscles get a lot of stiffness and tension, and it is a bit painful, but after a while doing it, it eases off and gets much more mobile and far more flexible. Great. Let's change around now onto the thighs next. So lying face down, pelvis really on top of the foam roller. And then from there, allow yourself to roll up and down forwards there on the roller. And you'll feel again pressure through the whole of the thigh as you're doing that. And again, these muscles that work so often in all things that we do, they carry a great deal of tension. You'll be amazed how much by doing this sort of activity regularly, ideally again every single day, you'll feel far more free in your movements, whether you're working out or just simply walking around. Again, this movement here, about 10, 12 repetitions. This whole routine you can do about 3 or 4 times every day. So quite often, the more you do it, the better. Last couple of those for now for me. Let's do one more and relax there. Fine, great. Lower back next, obviously an area of great tension all the time for most people. lying down with the small of your back on the roller. Get a good support with your hands behind the roller, and from there just rolling slowly up and down, feeling the pressure on the muscles either side of the spinal column itself. And that slight pressure, like having a good deep massage, releases tension that sits there and makes your pelvis more free. You'll feel a whole lot better for it. Again, before you exercise, before you run, this routine done regularly is going to help you enormously perform to your absolute best. That's good. Another 4 or 5 of those, smooth movements all the time, slipping away there. Doesn't matter if it rolls around, it's perfect. If you're working it, you're still working it. Let's do 1 more of those and relax there. Those 4 simple roller movements are great for your overall mobility, but do the whole routine regularly and you will feel fantastic.